If you ever owned a GameCube, chances are you have played, owned, or heard about Tales of Symphonia, one of the best-selling Tales of games and a lot of people's first introduction to the Tales of series. The game has us following Lloyd Irving, a dual-wielding swordsman on the task of assisting his friend Colette through her journey on world regeneration, alongside many party members he meets along the way. Equipped with memorable lines such as this one.
How can we go on a quest to regenerate the world if we can't even save the people standing right in front of us?
Or this one. Or this infamous one right here.
I lied. It's actually hot.
Moving away from our hero's ability to trick his friend to an mission with just some coffee, we go to another famous line by Lloyd and his genius concept on how swords work. If one sword has the power of 100, then using two would make it 200. Genius math, I'll say. Of course, this is supposed to be a funny quip on how simple-minded Lloyd is. But let's sit on that statement. By the time Lloyd gets to this point of the game, does two swords actually increase his power to 200? This is what this video is going to find out. Firstly, let's add some parameters here. Lloyd's power level is split up into three parts: his strength, sword slash, and sword thrust. These two stats right here are made up of his sword strength plus his overall strength, giving us a full total. So the first parameter is that both of these stats are going to go over 200. It's not enough for one of them to, we need both of them to. Since the swords he uses in cutscenes do not actually exist, it will be what he currently has equipped. So we will be progressively buying and obtaining the next dual swords when possible. Obviously, this video will be completely short if we were to level Lloyd up, and it will end with a resounding yes, making this video pointless. So, the second parameter is Lloyd is going to stay at level 3 to keep his stats at somewhat base level. I say somewhat, as it seems like his strength stat does increase ever so slightly, probably because he gradually moves towards strike in his skill meter throughout my playthrough. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments what you think this could be the reason for. The third parameter is that the final goal will be activating the cutscene. This whole thing wouldn't matter if Lloyd does not even say the line at all. I'll be going through the GameCube version, but this could be done with any versions of Symphonia. With those set in stone, let's get into the video.
Lloyd Irving, wake up! Lloyd!
Ah!
How do you manage to sleep standing?
With our hero awake, we can get on with the video. As said before, we're going to keep Lloyd at level 3, which shows that his strength is at 52, and his slash and thrust power are at 122 and 112. This is him equipped with the wooden swords, which adds 70 and 60 power to his strength of 52. Clearly not the Fable 200 that we are looking for, so we should move forward. But first we have to get something done straight. How are we going to stop Lloyd from leveling up? Well, that's easy. We put him back to sleep.
I'm sorry, Dad.
No!
With Lloyd finally at a slumber, he will gain no experience and stay at level 3 throughout this playthrough. That just leaves us dealing with enemies with Genus and Colette, which I found a lot harder than I thought it would be, until the time where Kratos shows up, which then things get a little bit easier. It's going to be a bit before we make it to our next sword in Trent. In the meantime, we'll be leveling up the party while keeping Lloyd asleep for the time being. He does have a tendency to wake up when pinnacle moments happen, so when he does, just get Rain to kick him once and then he'll just go back to sleep. The only time I needed him to wake up is when I was playing with just Genus, and fighting against too many enemies or a really tough boss fight. Lo and behold, Genus doesn't know how to fight with that kendama really well. As long as he's knocked out before the last enemy is defeated, he won't get any XP. So we just wake him up, have him do his thing, and then put him back to sleep. After defeating Exbulia, Marble Monsterfied, and knock out Lloyd again, we make it to Trent where we can buy our first swords for Lloyd, being the Night Sabers. The Night Sabers give Lloyd 190 in sword power, making his total power 155 and 145 when adding his new strength level to it, now at 55. Still lower than 200, so let's continue. By this point, the Designs has found out what exactly we were doing and decided to become shockingly helpful. Lloyd then wakes up in prison at the Silveron base. But now we have an issue. Lloyd can't fall asleep in this environment. So we'll have to get out of Silveron's base while avoiding all fights, besides the one mandatory one. After some easy puzzles, we finally make it to Boda, which means Lloyd can finally rest after making some little effort into the fight. Just a small little rest though, cause he ends up waking up after a long rest in the inn. No worries, that's an easy fix, and we can keep on going towards Trent Ruins. Exploring the dungeon, we come across the Mumei, another twin blade we can have Lloyd equip, giving us 115 and 100 in sword power, increasing Lloyd's total power to 170 and 155. We're nearly approaching the 200, so maybe the next sword will be our last. Crossing the huge desert, defeating Sheena, and throwing Max's love life out to sea, we embark to Palmacosta to get another dual blade from the shop, being the rapiers, bringing us to a total of 185 and 210. There we go, we are so close. We only got one of the stats over 200, making the statement half true. However, we did say that we're going to make them both 200, so this can't cut it. The rest of the stuff after this is a long journey, so let's fast forward past everything until we reach Hima, where we head towards the shop, the Crimson Canyon, to buy the Asafune, giving us a total of 220 and 200 in sword power, making Lloyd's total power 275 and 255. Finally, we made it. After a long slumberful journey, we finally made it to that infamous 200. We can finally rest properly, knowing that Lloyd's statement holds true. Now, all we need to do is just activate the cutscene to solidify the achievement, and... well, that's not good. So apparently, Lloyd's and Kratos' training is time exclusive. If you move too far into the plot, it just doesn't play at all. After all that work, is this it? Are we just thinking that Lloyd is just simple-minded and a dreamer at the end? Man's been sleeping for nothing? There must be something I'm missing here. There's no way that they would not allow us to just get up to 200. Come on, there must be something around here. Oh. Well damn, should have noticed this from the very beginning. Looks like in Palmacosta, the customization shop has another dual blades. The Masamune that gives Lloyd 190 and 165 sword power to his strength. Meaning that not all hope has been lost. Okay, now what do we need to make this? Alright, so it needs the rapiers, which we already have, that's good, and white silver. Okay, I'm assuming that this is an item that enemy drops? Which ones though? Oh. So the monster list gives us 3 monsters that drop white silver. The living swords, the gargoyles, and the rabbits. Since the living swords and the gargoyles are way further into the story, that leaves us with the rabbits, which are back in Silveron base. meaning that I have to reset because I can't get back to silver on base. Well, no time in the present. Lloyd, time for you to go back to sleep.
Lloyd Irving, wake up! Lloyd!
Let's just pretend everything that just happened was just a bad dream, and we could just continue from here. We will need to fight some rabbits until they drop some white silver. The thing is, we can't continuously fight them because Lloyd will level up then. So time to rely on the old save and reload method until we get an item drop. Luckily, it only lasted 4 minutes. But the last time I tried to do this, I didn't realize Lloyd woke up after the fire seal, which then led to him leveling up outside of my party, and then I had to reset, and then I had to try to get white silver again, and oh man, why is the item rate drop so random? I've been on this for 15 minutes. Now with our white silver in hand, we doze back off to Palmacosta, customize the items that we need to get to Masamune, and activate the cutscene. Complete peace. Knowing that we can finally say that 2 swords do actually equal 200 power. And with that, thank you for watching this video. I wanted to do a fun, silly Symphonia video on top of other ideas that I have for more insight-based and more lore-based videos for Tales. This one seemed fun to do, even though the answer was pretty obvious from the get-go, even with Lloyd at level 3. But hey, you know, silly videos sometimes are fun to have. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.